Welcome back, lovelies. So today we are talking about protein. So I did a grocery tour a couple months ago, and we talked about protein and different protein sources. So I wanted to kind of give you guys that information as to what are healthy proteins and serving sizes and kind of the different myths and whatnot that come with different proteins. So the first thing we need to talk about with protein is what is protein and why do our bodies need it? So protein is a macronutrient. Our muscles, skin, blood, all that kind of stuff relies on protein, as well as hormones and some antibodies and enzymes. So it's a necessary macronutrient for our bodies to have in order to build the important parts of our body. And there's the question of how much protein do we need. There's a lot of diets out there, like the keto diet and the paleo diet, that are really on like you need to have this like whole diet of protein, and it's just not true. So what they recommend is a serving of protein is about 3 to 4 ounces by weight, and it's kind of about the size of a deck of cards if you want to picture it that way. The recommended daily amount of protein is about 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. And when you think about portion sizes nowadays, with like if you get a steak or something of that sort, and you go to a restaurant, the sizes are so completely outrageous that we're so skewed in our head of what a portion size looks like. So you can go to a restaurant and you can get like a 14-ounce steak when really the serving size is 4 ounces. So you're getting well over triple the amount of steak you should be eating in a serving. So let's talk chicken and turkey. So there's three things that you hear a lot when it comes to chicken and turkey, and that's organic. Do I buy natural? Do I buy hormone free? Do I buy free range? What do they all mean? So it gets a little complicated. So hormone free just basically means that they don't inject the animal with hormones. Organic is that the chickens or turkey are fed an organic diet. And free range just means that they have room to move. However, natural means nothing. There is no regulation to what natural means in the food marketplace. So keep that in mind. If you're paying a little more for something natural, it doesn't actually mean anything. So just keep that in mind. Should you buy fresh? Should you buy frozen? Should you buy canned? So fresh is a good bet. Frozen is actually a very economical, easy way to get maybe a higher quality. So if you want to spend the money on organic free range chicken, but fresh is a little more expensive and it's kind of too expensive, check the frozen section. Frozen chicken is exactly the same as the fresh chicken. There's nothing different about it. It just happens to be frozen. And it's actually a really good way to portion control. So if you maybe go to Costco, this is what Michael and I'll do. We go to Costco and we'll get, what is it? It's like 3 pounds of chicken or whatever, and we just freeze most of it. So frozen is usually much cheaper than fresh. When it comes to canned chicken, I don't believe there's canned turkey, but if there is, it's gonna follow the same guidelines. Don't get it packed in oil. So they like to pack things usually in either oil or water. So make sure you get it with water and check the sodium levels on it. Because sometimes with the canned stuff, no matter what it is, they just dump tons of salt in it to try to preserve it. So don't get it packed in oil. Make sure you get it packed in water. And then there's the topic of, do I buy breasts? Do I buy thighs? Do I buy ground meat? What do I do? So breasts are the leanest cut. Thighs are actually really not that much more fatty than breasts are, and they tend to be more economic. So if you want to, say, make a ton of chicken meal prepping, thighs actually not that bad of an option. You can always, If you see meat, or I mean, sorry, of course, if you see meat, if you see fat on the thigh, just try to cut it away. So, thigh's really economical. Ground, now, it's difficult with ground meat, pre-ground chicken and turkey. They don't always tell you how much fat percentage is in that. So in beef, you can buy 90-10, 80-20, 70-30. They actually make that. But turkey, usually it's ground turkey, but chicken as well, you don't have the option to choose a super, lean cut of ground meat. So if you can see the percentage of fat in it, that's good. Otherwise, just keep that in mind that they don't always have it listed on the packaging of how much fat is in the ground meat. So chicken with breast, thighs, or ground, there's really not that much of a difference. If you can, breast, it's more expensive because it's leaner. You're getting more meat per fat ratio. Thighs, you're getting a little more fat, so they're a little bit cheaper. So just keep that in mind. Okay, as for red meat, they have grass-fed, organic, again with the natural, all that kind of stuff. So what the difference is again, natural means nothing. Don't waste your money on something that lists it as natural. Organic, again, just means that the cattle or pigs are getting fed organic meal. Grass-fed, it's more expensive and is actually, they say there's really not that much of a difference between nutrient-wise between grass-fed and not grass-fed cows. However, grass-fed beef as well as like grass-fed milk have a higher omega-3 level than normal. It's really not much, it's pretty minimal, but that is the difference. As grass-fed, you're getting a little more omega-3 fatty acids in it, which is a little bit healthier for you. The leanest cut of meats to look for are loin and round. So it gets kind of complicated with the like 20 different names of cuts of beef or pork. So you want to look for loin, like sirloin or tenderloin, and round, top round, things like that. Those tend to be the leanest cuts of meat. Some people say they're tougher, they're flavorless kind of pieces of meat. It's just that they have less fat in them, so they're a little more waistline friendly. However, it does give you the opportunity that you can flavor the holy bejesus out of that piece of meat into what you want it to taste like. So that's the benefit. When it comes to ground beef, like I said before, they do mark what the percentage level is. My favorite percentage level is 95.9. 95.9, that does not make math correct. 95.5. Now, that's not easy to find in stores, and especially not with the qualifications I want with my beef. So what you can actually do, and if you see that they don't have the cut of that you want, the percentage that you want, you can ask your butcher to grind the meat up for you. That's why they're there. They're welcome to answer questions, grind the meat for you, even cut the meat for you. So that's something to keep in mind, that if they don't have the ground fat percentage that you want, you can always ask them to grind a piece of meat for you. Now, one of the questions I get all the time is, I'm trying to eat healthy, can I eat bacon? For the longest time, people have been substituting pork bacon with turkey bacon. Now, when I was researching things for this grocery tour, I was actually really shocked at the things that I found about turkey bacon. First off, turkey bacon is not natural. They literally just basically grind up turkey and mush it into strip form to make it look like bacon. So I'm not going to be able to word for word give this to you, so I need to read it from my notes. So when comparing products from the same company, a serving of pork center bacon with 60 calories, 35 calories from fat, 210 milligrams of sodium, 1.5 grams of saturated fat, 3.5 grams of total fat, 15 milligrams of cholesterol, and 6 grams of protein. And I will pop that all up right over here. Turkey bacon from the same company has 35 calories, 25 calories from fat, 180 grams of sodium, 1 gram of saturated fat, 3 grams of total fat, 15 milligrams of cholesterol, and only 2 grams of protein, which that's all right there. So the difference is this is a little bit less calorie dense. However, turkey bacon is only half a gram less of saturated fat per serving and half a gram of total fat less than pork bacon. When that's usually what we want is less fat. Yeah? They also have the same amount of cholesterol, and pork bacon actually gives you 4 more grams of protein per serving versus turkey bacon. Eat the pork bacon. So when it comes to fish, the 3 kind of fish that I really recommend to people that really are healthy for your waist and not too bad for your wallet. So there's tilapia, which is very lean. It's also very cheap, and it's got basically no flavor to it. So you can flavor it however you want, and you can use it in a whole bunch of things. So it's an incredibly versatile fish. Salmon is really awesome for your body. The omega fatty acids in the salmon are so amazing for your brain, so please don't be afraid of the fat in salmon. And tuna is also very good for you. Now, the thing with tuna that I want to point out is, and this is just my inner Santa Cruz hippie coming out, is with tuna you want to make sure it's pull and line caught and not net caught. So a few years ago, this was back 10 plus, 15 years ago almost, there was a thing that came out that a lot of commercially caught fish that was labeled dolphin free was not actually dolphin free. So that's the one thing that I don't like about net caught tuna, is they tend to catch a lot of dolphins, and the thing is even if it says it's dolphin free, I can guarantee they probably caught some dolphin in there, and it's considered dolphin free because they didn't put the dolphin meat in the tuna, but they've drowned the dolphin, and you can drown a dolphin, and have just thrown it away. So net caught fish is really detrimental to the environment, so please do not buy net caught fish. Pull and line is really not that expensive. Whole Foods has really economic little tins of tuna, and so does Trader Joe's. So you can buy a better quality piece of tuna that's not going to break the bank. Now, there's different ways that you can get fish. You can get fresh, you can get frozen, you can get canned, you can get smoked. What do you choose? So a lot of fresh fish in stores was actually previously frozen. So just keep that in mind. So again, there's nothing better about fresh fish versus frozen fish. You just need to be careful with defrosting that frozen fish, that you don't end up with fish that's going to make you sick. So just be careful with that. Canned, again, just make sure it's not packed in oil. Water is really the best way, and try to get low sodium or no salt added if you can. With smoked salmon, now the thing to keep in mind is when you smoke something, it's the same thing as like drying fruit, is it shrinks down. So they tend to be more calorically dense in a smaller package, and they also put a lot of sodium when it comes to smoked salmon. So just keep in mind that if you're going to eat some smoked salmon, you need to be mindful of what that serving size looks like, as well as how much sodium you are taking in by having smoked salmon. So go ahead and have your lox and bagels, but just make sure that you are being mindful of your serving size with it. And as for serving size, a serving size of fish is the same thing as everything else, 3 to 4 ounces. And again, you can measure it, you can weigh it, you can just look at a little deck of cards. There you go. Seafood. Now, basically all seafood is low in fat, so they're all really excellent sources of protein. And I find it's easier to get frozen seafood and defrost it. So Michael and I, we love shrimp. So we get frozen shrimp, and then I will either put it in the fridge the day before and let it defrost in the fridge, or I will just run it under cold water and defrost it that way right before we cook it. So frozen, they defrost, they tend to defrost pretty quickly. So I feel like frozen is a better option. It also tends to be cheaper, and you don't have to worry about making sure you get it and eat it in time, because fresh can go bad pretty quickly. So if you buy it, say on a Sunday, and you plan on cooking it like on Friday, you're probably gonna get sick. So I would suggest just buying frozen. When it comes to vegetarian sources of protein, so like beans, legumes, and quinoa, you can buy them canned and you can buy them dried and then kind of rehydrate them yourself. So when it comes to canned, just make sure you rinse them, because the packaging liquid tends to have sodium in it and other weird chemicals. So just rinse your beans or legumes or whatever you're using before you eat them. Dried is again the cheapest option because you have to still do the work to soak them. But canned doesn't tend to be too expensive. Now, those kind of protein sources are higher in carbohydrates, but they're a really excellent vegetarian protein option. I eat a lot of beans, a lot of quinoa, so my carbohydrate count is going to be higher, but it's a non-meaty way of getting your protein source. So don't be afraid of the carbs if you're trying to eat a little more vegetarian. So which bean is best? That's a complicated question. So there's black beans, there's pinto beans, there's kidney beans, there's like 10 million different kind of beans. They all essentially have the same protein level. Pinto beans have a little bit higher protein than the other beans, but it's like totally minimal, so you don't need to only eat pinto beans. But if you want one that has just a higher protein content, then pinto beans are the way to go. So when it comes to vegetarian protein options, and we're not talking about tofu here, obviously, the protein amount per serving is going to be less than meat. So in a serving of beans or quinoa or legumes or, you know, whatever, it's about 8 grams of protein. Okay, so let's talk eggs. So there are organic eggs and free range and cage free. So they all have to do with the welfare of the chicken. So they don't actually change the nutrition of the egg. So if you care more about the chicken's welfare, which I do, I tend to buy organic free range eggs, but it's up to you. So there's really no nutritional difference between organic, cage free, free range, natural. Again, natural means nothing. As for the yolk, yes, you should eat the yolk. So the yolk has a ton of vitamins and minerals in it. It's also where the healthy fat lives, in the egg. So don't be afraid of eating the yolk. If you're worried about taking in too much fat, or you're still worried about the cholesterol level, maybe you are watching your cholesterol levels, I suggest to people that if you're going to eat 2 eggs, I would eat 1 egg and then 1 egg white, so you're still getting the benefits and the fuller feeling by eating fat in the yolk, but you're not going to be eating 2 yolks. And boiled eggs are really excellent on the go snack or breakfast. So I really suggest to my clients to eat protein at every meal, including snacks. It just is a balanced snack or meal. Breakfast, if you're on the go, sometimes it's harder to get protein in. So don't worry about having to cook your eggs. You just boil up a bunch of eggs over the weekend, and then you've got breakfast for the week or a healthy snack to balance everything out. So I hope this was really helpful to you guys. If there was anything new you learned or any other questions you have, please pop them below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked these kind of videos. And if there's any other videos you'd like to see, if you'd like me to do other macronutrients, comment below and let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe so you guys are notified every week when I come out with a new video. And I will see you guys next week. Bye guys.